Okay, how's everybody doing? You know what? I'm going to start with this today. First and foremost, this is your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards, and we are here live on May 3rd. May. It just seems like January was yesterday. It's already May. So I want you to start off with understanding that no day is promised to you, and time is not waiting for you. So get on your greatest running outfit and run for success. But today, on House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards, we're going to change the perception of our information a little bit. We're going to talk about some things that have been very, uh, very much discussed in all aspects of the sporting world. And it talks about we're going to talk about the NIL a little bit, the name, image, and likeness, because so many conversations I encounter with people. Most people ask me, what do I think about the NIL? What are my feelings about the NIL? Do you think that the NIL is a decoy to distract people from so much concerned about how much money institutions are making off of the blood, sweat, and tears of these athletes, that the NIL will distract them from engaging? Because a lot of times we are very reactive people, and all somebody has to do is throw a bone in the middle, and all the dogs will run after the bone, and they won't concentrate on the meat that's over here on this side. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the name, image, and likeness initiative. And so I had to write down my notes to address some of the questions and concerns that a lot of people have asked me. Now, there are a lot of legal aspects to the name, image, and likeness initiative, but I'm just going to give you my perspective on what I know. But like anything else that deals with the NC2A, it's going to be ever evolving. It's going to be changing on a regular basis. And so my main focus here is to give people information so that you're less stressful when you are involved in making these decisions. And then at the end, I'm going to give you the pros and cons from my perspective on what I believe the NIL, which is currently in college, but there are some high school individuals who may be getting it. But I think what I had a conversation yesterday with someone who says that they were introduced at the high school level about now it being implemented into students, athletes, but it's going to try to come from a trust perspective. So when more information like that comes up and I'm privy to it, I'll share it. If not, make sure the people that you're engaged with, who are trying to get you NIL deals, give you the right information, because NIL may sound good, but everything that they say in the streets, everything that glitters is not gold. Please remember that. Now, what is the NIL, right? Most people say, well, I heard about it. What do you mean NIL, my name, my image, or my likeness? What it does is allows college athletes to profit from their personal brand while participating in college sports. Um, this is a change that came after significant controversial conversations and about the NC2A, like I said initially, making so much money off of the sporting events and athletes not getting paid for their services. And the big argument was that, well, they're getting a scholarship. And so, went back and forth. But in 2018, they sort of implemented it. And probably now it's just starting to become popular, because you see so many people talking about this athlete got a $700,000 NIL deal. This athlete received this amount of money. These athletes are driving Mercedes Benz, Bentleys, all of that stuff on campus because they have an NIL deal. Well, it's like anything. It goes back to the Rory T. Edwards Group motto. You can't withdraw what you did not deposit. So if you didn't deposit into your popularity, your skill level, people aren't going to really come to you as much as they're going to go to the ones who have been promoted more on national television and social media, on videos on YouTube, all of the things that they've done to promote themselves. Uh, Organizations and company are looking for that individual because of the followers that they have. You're in a new world now. You're in a new world. But let's talk about that. Name, image, and likeness refers to the ability of athletes to earn money from their name, image, and likeness through activities such as endorsements, what I just say, personal appearances, social media, promotions, and more. Now, who's eligible? These are some of the questions that I received. So, who's eligible? All NC2A student athletes across all divisions are eligible to benefit from NIL. Now, what are some of the things when you're starting with NIL? What does this mean? I'm going to talk about the three things that you need to understand. The first one is educational. It's crucial for athletes to understand their rights and the rules governing NIL. Many universities offer programs and workshops on NIL literacy. So if you're thinking about trying to incorporate something, make sure that you contact your compliance officer, which I'm going to talk about next, to find out what are the unforeseen obstacles that may be in the way once you're trying to get an NIL deal. That's the other thing. Like I said, compliance. Athletes need to comply with both NCAA rules and state laws governing NIL. Each state may have a different regulation, and as states without specific laws, individual schools may set their policy. So don't think that what you got in California is the same as a school in New York, and what you think in New York is the same as a school in Maine, or the school in Maine is the same as a school in Minnesota. You have to check with your compliance officer, but you also have to understand the laws that have been governed under the state legislation. Also, how NIL will be implemented and also distributed to these college athletes. All right. Now, representation. This is the big thing because a lot of people get caught up in just trying to go to one of their friends and promote their business and don't understand all of the loopholes. So it says representation. That's some of the things starting with NIL. Athletes can hire agents or representatives to help manage deals and negotiations, but they must ensure these agents are compliant with state laws and school policy. See, because just because you think you can get NIL money, it still may jeopardize your eligibility. So you make sure that the agent that you have is very knowledgeable in the process and that you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed. Now, why am I sharing this today? And what are the people who usually listen to me say, why is this important? Well, some of you are in very prestigious positions. Some of you deal with a lot of people. It may not be of interest to you, but you may be someone who is a pastor and you have a lot of people in your church who may not be of college age themselves or participating in sports, but may have grandchildren, may have nieces, nephews, may have relatives who are saying that so and so is getting $20,000 from the local car dealership to represent them and not realize that that could jeopardize their eligibility. So you need to know this information so that when you're in positions of authority, of influence, you can share this information with people about how this NIL is effectively enhancing or being a demise to people's lives because money's a wonderful servant but a terrible master. Please remember that. Now, steps to begin receiving NIL compensation. Some people say, well, how can I start receiving compensation from NIL? Well, one thing is build a brand. First and foremost, like I said earlier, you have to be able to people have to know who you are, right? Back in the day, there was a saying that said, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But I modernize it a little bit. And I say it's not what you know or who you know, it's who knows about you. Because in this day and time, anybody can find out who you are, what you're doing, where you've been, where you're going. There's so many cameras and eyes in the skies that you can't get away with anything now unless you're underground. But they do have stuff that also um, distributes and can identify heat under the ground. So you can't even get it away right there. You can't even get away being underground any longer. So build a brand. The next thing is market yourself. How do you market yourself? One thing I'm big on, I'm really big on, and I'm gonna constantly talk about it. When you market yourself, you're marketing yourself to people who may not like the same music you like, who may not like the verbiage that you use, may not like the way that you engage in dialect and verbiage. So you have to understand, what are you marketing yourself to? If you're marketing yourself um, to rappers, yeah, put their music on it. But when you go on and put on music and marketing yourself behind your videos or your presentation, and all of the verbiage is very negative, people are going to turn that off. Now, some people may say, "Oh, you're old. You don't understand modern times." I do understand business. How about that? I understand the mental capacity of of receiving messages, and sometimes the louder and static, toxic messages don't enter into the brain of someone you're trying to market to. So understand that when you're thinking about marketing, find opportunities, look at opportunities, look for people who may want to invest in you, people who believe in what you're doing, believe in your talent. Find opportunities. I remember when the Alabama State football field got built. I was in the area back then, and my cousin and I, David Irons, Senior Homes GTA, were down there recruiting some young people. And we went to the stadium and we were looking around, and some of the athletes were giving us a tour. And I asked them about Alabama State has a section of leather seats in the stadium. And I asked the young men, I said, "Who sits in those seats over there?" And they were like, "I don't know." I said, "Well, do you think they pay the same price to sit in those seats as the people who pay to sit in these other seats right here?" And they said, "Probably not." I said, "At the end of the game, where do you go to shake hands?" They said, "Over here in the student section." I said, "Well, let me change your thought process. Why don't you go over to the leather seats and start shaking hands?" Because those people have contributed something to the school, they have contributed something to society, and they might have something to contribute to your individual goals and aspirations. Go over there also and start shaking hands. Now, those young men have since graduated from Alabama State, but I'm passing that on because maybe other people who go to colleges may now see that's how you find opportunities. You don't look for opportunities in your peers. You look for opportunities in the ones who are supporting the reason you're on that field, the reason you're on that court, the reason you're on that track, the reason you're on that diamond, the reason you're on that soccer field or softball field or whatever you're doing. Those are the opportunities that you find. And then learn how to negotiate, learn how to talk. Most people now, I listen, they always talk through their teeth. They're talking through like this, like you talking like this. Nobody listens to you talking like that. Enunciate. My mother used to always tell me, enunciate your words, enunciate your words, so that people understand what you're saying. And then on the other side, you can't lead with, "You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?" No, because you ain't said nothing yet. People don't know what you mean because it's in your brain. You haven't delivered it yet. And you can't say, "You know what I'm saying." No, say it first, then maybe give me an opportunity to know what you're saying. That's how you got to start thinking about if you're going to promote yourself to get somebody to invest in you. All right. Before we move on, once again, you're listening to House Calls with your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards. And this today we're talking about the NIL, name, image, and likeness, and how it helps you and your students or your children or your nieces and nephews or grandchildren, how it makes them, how it helps them through receiving some money while they're in college. Now, one of the things that people don't know is what is the impact on your amateur status? Well, maintaining amateurism. Despite being able to receive compensation, athletes are still considered amateurs as long as they are not directly paid for their athletic performance or participation. Let me read that to you again. Despite being able to receive compensation, athletes are still considered amateurs as long as they are not directly paid for their athletic performance or participation. Now, why do I say that? Because a lot of times people are going to say, "Well, hey, you can slip it to me under the table." But then what do? You don't you don't utilize it the way you received it. You get the money, you go out and start flossing. You want to tell everybody, somebody say, "Where you get that money from?" "Oh, you know that booster that comes down to the game all the time, he slipped me a bag." And now what happens? That person's jealous because you're getting a bag, and that person goes and tells somebody who tells somebody who tells somebody who tells somebody and who tells somebody. And then they come back and tell you that your amateurism has been um, violated. You violated your amateurism by accepting funds, and you're going to say, "I didn't," and they're going to go back and say, "This is how they found out." And eventually, like I shared, very few people can hide from the eye in the sky these days. So please understand that you're not slicker than the system. understand that the system is always watching you, and there's always infiltrators out there. Every major movement that has happened in this country has been destroyed by infiltrators. So please understand that. Okay. Now, to scholarship and eligibility. NIL compensation does not affect an athlete's scholarship. Once again, it does not affect the athlete's scholarship or eligibility. However, athletes must maintain academic and athletic standards set by their institution and the NCAA. So you must remain and maintain academic standards. Because if you're not on the field, why would I invest in you? I want you on the field so that at the end of your conversation, when the cameras are in your face, you're mentioning my business. And if you're not on the field because academically you failed, you can't promote my business. All right? Now, let's talk about risk and considerations. Conflict of interest. Deals must not conflict with team commitments or school partnerships. For instance, wearing competing apparel brand may not be allowed. So if your school is sponsored by Nike, you can't go on the field wearing Puma or Under Armour. You have to stay with Nike. Now that may jeopardize your NIL agreement because the other organization is paying you to wear their product. So you got to understand. Taxes. Most people don't know this. Taxes. Income from NIL is taxable. Athletes must manage their finances accordingly, possibly requiring professional tax advice. So don't think that you're getting $10,000 and that person's not claiming it on their taxes, that they presented it to you through the NIL initiative, and that you don't claim it on your taxes. Uncle Sam will find you. Uncle Sam will find you, and you'll be held accountable for that money until you leave this earth because they're going to chase you down for their money. Please understand that. And the long-term impacts. What are the long-term impacts? Athletes should consider how deals might affect their long-term public image and career prospects beyond college. Don't think that once your NIL deal's gone that you're gone. No, all of the images and things that you have done for that NIL initiative is going to always be in the cloud. So please understand that what you do today will follow you for the rest of your life. So please understand that when you're doing this NIL. Now I'm going to give you two things on where you could start. Where's the first one? Consulting with your school's compliance officer to understand specific rules and restrictions. That's one. And attending any NIL workshops or seminars offered by the school. Now, this is what I'm going to end with today. What are some pros? I talked about the NIL. I told you some things, but I'm going to tell you what I think. What are some of the pros and cons? And I'm not going to go into them. I'm going to let you research them if you're really interested in what the NIL pros and cons are from my perspective. One of the pros is financial opportunities for athletes. You know, NIL provides athletes a chance to earn money during their college careers. Yeah, great opportunity. A lot of people may not. What's the second pro? Is personal brand building. If you think that people don't know who you are, make them know who you are, right? Because nobody knows you until they know you. So think about that. That's what the pros are. Personal branding through maybe a bigger source of information. That might be it. And the third one is equity in sports. Now the NIL levels the playing field by giving all athletes, not just those in revenue generating sports like football and basketball, the opportunity to profit from their talents and popularity. Female athletes and those in less popular sports can capitalize on their personal appeal and accomplishments. Those are some of the pros. Yeah, everybody can get money. It's not just for the elite. It's for the ones who want to work to get their name out there and get paid for their name and their image and their likeness. Now let's talk about the cons because you know everything that goes up must come down. Let's talk about that. Cons are potential distractions. You have to be able to manage endorsements in your personal business and your academics and your athletics. If you don't have a good structure, then you're definitely not going to be able to understand what obligation is priority for me. So understand your potential distractions. What's the second one? Risk of exploitation, right? Everybody thinks they know everything because they can Google it. No. There's people out there who prey on you individuals for the purpose of their own advancement. Please understand that there's a risk of exploitation. You can be exploited. We see in the news right now everything that people have talked about, everything that people have done. As soon as they become a person of power, it's brought back. So people just hold on to this information because they can exploit you. We see how so many athletes get brought up into their fourth, fifth year of their career. Now they'll bring up something that happened in college. So this also can also put you in a place of exploitation. Please understand that. And the third thing is inequity among athletes. So every athlete's not going to get the same deal that every athlete's going to get. So if you're the 100th man on the football team, you're not going to get the same money that the starting quarterback gets, or the starting running back, or the starting receiver, or the starting tackle, or defensive end. You're not going to get that money. So you have to understand that that could also drum up some jealousy amongst each other in the locker room. So you got to be very careful about the pros and the cons of the NIL. Now, uh, those are the things that I came up with. Those are the things that I researched to find, just to provide you information on how you can navigate through this name, image, and likeness uh, journey. It's not easy. It's not as easy as it sounds, that somebody's gonna walk up to you and give you money. You got to be able to work for it. And once again, we're gonna go back to the motto of the Rory T. Edwards Group. You can't withdraw what you did not deposit. So if you're not putting in the work, if you're not becoming that person that people like, or people would like to invest in, please understand you will not get invested in. You must invest in yourself first before anyone will take the chance of investing in you. So with that being said, I hope that you all enjoy Cinco de Mayo, uh, and enjoy that made-up holiday. Some people just want to go out and drink and try to put it on something, but it's Cinco de Mayo coming up this weekend. Enjoy yourself, be safe, and also pass this information on to anyone who may have an individual who's trying to put their name, image, and likeness out there for um, monetary monetary benefits. All right. Um, with that being said, this is your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards. Once again, please visit us at www.rorytedwards.com. Or if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, or you would like some advice on this, please contact us at rorytedwards1 at gmail.com. That's again, rorytedwards1 at gmail.com. And we would be more than happy to help you navigate through this process for a very nominal fee. All right, that's what the Rory T. Edwards Group does. We help people to navigate through life so that they receive the best life that they were built on this earth and put on this earth to have. Right. So, and with that happened, I said right too many times, but anyway, I correct myself about mine, but it still does that. Nobody's perfect, but I'm striving to be perfect every day. I'm trying to strive every day to be better than yesterday. Okay. With that being said, you all have an amazing weekend. Be safe. Enjoy time with family. Enjoy the day today like it's your last day. And also, please look forward to us providing next week. We're going to provide on the portal. We know so many individuals are now in college have the portals. It makes them able to move from one institution to another institution without penalty. But there will be some vital information on that next week. I'll put it out there when I'm going to do it. But until then, you all be safe again. Stay healthy. Live, love, and laugh. Until we talk again, this is Dr. Rory T. Edwards. And we'll talk soon. Ashe.